found that I don't want to be the clown who wears the frown. And the heartache I've seen, the boulevard of broken dreams, too many kings without queens. Oh yeah, and I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels sent you to me. I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels sent you to me. They've sent you to me. And so here you will find forever's just a glimpse of time, photographs in your mind. But if there's fear in your heart, you'll never ever finish what you start. It could tear you apart. Oh yeah, and I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels send you to me. I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels send you to me. But they've sent you to me. Well, I've been waiting, but they've sent you to me. Well, I've been waiting all my life for you. All my life. And I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels sent you to me. I believe in love, yeah. And I believe that angels sent you to me. But they've sent you to me.
And that was Believe by Clint Boge, my guest on Stargazer Radio for today. I am beyond thrilled to have him here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm going to pull him in and we're going to get chatting. Stargazers, Clint Boge.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Thank you so much for taking time to chat to me. I know your schedule is absolutely hectic. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I love chatting about music, well, any kind of
So,
music, really. Yeah, it's good.
yeah, same. Absolute music nerd, and that's actually why this was all started in the first place. So I am, and your music from like Thieves has been so well received by my chat when I do live stream. So I absolutely had to get you on for a chat.
Great. That's awesome. I'll pass that on to the guys. They'll be stoked that a few more listeners to the crew.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to get more.
Thank you.
So if you're happy, we'll get started.
Love to.
Fab. So my first question for you is, what was your first experience with music, and how did that influence you to pursue a career in music yourself?
Yeah, so I remember listening to War of the Worlds with my dad in the dark when I was about 2 or 3 years old on an old LP, old record player, and the lights were really exciting because it had the graphic EQ when they were moving red and green, and it was exciting. And I remember being so scared but so exhilarated at the same time. And they bought me this little plastic uh, gun, like a ray gun, like a, something from Star Wars, that when you pulled the trigger, it used to turn this little wheel inside and sparks would fly out everywhere. It was terribly dangerous for kids to handle. But I mean, it was the 70s, right? So who cares? And I just remember being so frightened, but so exhilarated, and spending this amazing moment with my dad was
Wow.
what really sparked it and triggered that. And I still remember at the early age of 2 or 3, that resonating quality of music and the ability to transport and transcend the listener to anywhere. And I was right in it, and with this ray gun and the sparks flying, and standing there in my underwear in one of Australia's typically and well-renowned stinking hot summers.
Oh,
That
yes.
was one of my first memories, and one of those first, like, literally the brain shot awake, and everything was like, whoa. So yeah, that was the first thing. And then obviously going to parties with my parents and having like the Eagles on in the background, and Kate Bush playing, and Elton John, and and just these amazing, incredibly talented musicians and artists were just, I was in awe the whole time. So it was, for me, I'd just sit around the stereo and just literally stare at the lights. So it was great. Nothing much changed.
You still sit around staring at the pretty lights.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I love that. I mean, probably same, to be fair. I'm kind of like a magpie, so anything shiny and pretty, and I'm just like, ooh, okay.
Oh, I love that. Yep, it was so good. There was such a great time there in the 80s and 90s where it was
Oh
just
yeah.
bigger and better and brighter, and the lights were just crazy. And I just, yeah,
All the
I'm
big
still a fan.
stadium rock, hair metal, all of that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
There was always so much theatricality behind it as well, and I think that is coming back now, which is amazing. But yeah, it was like you said, it was just big.
Yeah, that's what I think I loved about it. It was the theatrical side of things. There was this cinema to it. It was a real
Yes.
sense of showmanship. I mean, you had like bands like Kiss, and the pyrotechnics, and it was just such a wow factor. But they brought that extra dimension, so it wasn't just a few people standing on stage wobbling on, waffling on. It was about, it was about hair, it
Yeah.
was the lights, it was pyrotechnics, the song, just the massive amounts of rock.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing. It's just, yeah, I love it.
Fantastic. How would you describe, and I know that you are, not only do you have your own solo work, but you were involved in three different bands. How would you
Yeah, well,
describe each different style of music from your own solo work to the bands that you're a part of?
yeah, that's a good question, because people ask me that and they say, "Oh, what can we expect from your solo stuff?" If they're familiar with one of the other bands, and I say it's kind of like, not usually. It's interesting when you say, like, it's kind of folky, it's kind of rocky, it's kind of adult contemporary, but that's murky waters. And so I just say it's really laid back. That's the way I describe my solo stuff. With orchestral arrangements and just really nice lyrics, and there's no shouting, which is good. Butterfly Effect, I've always described as, we were trying to come up with something to describe what we thought it was. And alternate heavy rock just didn't seem to cut it. So we actually came up with something called distorted emotive, which is what we like brand our style of music. I don't know
I
whether, I
love
don't think it
that.
really caught on, but it's just a really cool way to say that it's loud. It's got distorted guitars. There's some shouting. It's like really emotive vocals. It's big melodies. And friends of ours in Dead Letter Circus and other guys like that sort of
Oh,
took it on board, and we all said, we're going to start calling our genre distorted emotive. Um,
I love that.
which, yeah, it's pretty cool. Which leads me on to like Thieves. It's probably Thieves is like straddling the line of proggy, genty, alt rock, I guess, and that's kind of cool because that's where we really wanted to play around in that sphere. Um, the other bands which are no longer going at the moment, Thousand Needles and Red, that was just, we really wanted to create just a rock band, I guess, like an American sort of riff-based rock band,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun, and it was really cool at the time. Now I listen back, like what I just listen back and go, oh man, oh, sometimes,
Oh
but
no,
still very proud
Empires
of.
was a fantastic album. I loved
Oh,
that.
thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely
it's good. It was good
phenomenal.
fun.
But you
So
say
there
they're
you go.
not,
So that's
that's
sorry.
the genre. No, you're fine.
It's
Thousand
it's that
Needles
it's that split
are
second
not.
delay. It's killing me.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. International calling, everybody. You say Thousand Needles are not making
No,
music
so
anymore.
no, we
Oh, it's a shame.
everyone sort of I had heaps of other stuff that happening, and
Of
Butterfly Effect
course.
got back together, and yeah, so I went down that road, and honestly, it takes up so much of my time. But the good thing is that there's new Butterfly Effect music and new like Thieves coming and new solo stuff in the works. So there you go. That you got the scoop.
You have no idea how happy that makes me. And that does answer
I
one of my
can't.
audience questions for later on as well. So,
Oh, I love that. Actually, I gotta just say just quickly, I can't
mm,
wait to present the new Like Thieves album. It's so cinematic, it's ridiculous. Odin, our guitarist, went off and did a whole bunch. He was writing music for video games, and so he brought that back into the Thieves sphere, and it's gonna be, oh my goodness, epic. Shut the gate. Too much. So yeah, it's gonna be, and it's heavier, big gnarly vocals and stuff. So we're changing our sound just a
oh,
little.
hello. Did you
Mm.
say he was writing for video games?
He was writing music for video games. So if you like,
Fantastic.
if we were going to support a band, we could easily fit on a bill with Architects, Spirit Box, Sleep Token,
Oh,
any of those bands.
yes,
We would
please.
fit perfectly in between with those guys. Bring Me the Horizon, Bullet for My Valentine, anywhere inside there.
That is a lineup I would pay big money to see.
Me too. Can I come over and we'll put that together?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just make our own festival, it'll be fine. Who would you say your biggest inspirations have been and how have they influenced your styles, should I say?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think from the very beginning, if you really want to go back, it was singer-songwriters, Elton John, Billy Joel, and then as I started to explore, Peter Gabriel became one of my
Oh,
massive influence, and Kate Bush, Tori Amos. I just love the way that they use their voices as an instrument and not just, the vessel to project words from. So then when I found metal, Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson was the guy that I just said I have to model my voice off his, because of his just amazing operatic vibrato was intense. Also, I just loved his physicality on stage, the way he moved, the way he told stories, his lyrics. And I loved Iron Maiden. They were like my first heavy metal love. And of course, Ozzy Osbourne. And then I went into this like mad rabbit hole. And who else? Oh, well, then it was, Faith No More when the styles
ah,
started to change.
yes.
So that was huge. Like, I still remember getting, The Real Thing, and then when Angel Dust come out, that just blew my mind, and I thought, "That's great," because, again, he was just so theatrical in his delivery, and
Yeah.
it was visceral. You could feel it, and it was the way he painted pictures with just his voice, and then you layered the lyrics on top, and it just yeah, that's and so Jeff Buckley,
Oh,
where else did I go? And then I started getting into like, I started listening to like opera, and I listen to nothing but classical music these days.
really?
Well, well, not all, yeah, when I'm in the car probably, but I'm an absolute massive fan of Sleep Token, Spirit Box.
Ah,
They're just blowing my mind at the moment.
same.
Um,
Sleep Token are an obsession right now. It's just
yeah, yeah.
insane what they're doing.
I love it. I saw them. They were at the airport. I was on my way to Sydney, and I saw this group of English men and women walk in, and I was like, "That's got to be them." And I saw this very tall, very gangly looking man with with black body paint down the back of his neck. And I listened intently to what they were saying, because they came and sat literally right next to me. And so I've seen them unmasked, and it was actually really cool. And so like Vessel looked nothing like I thought he would. So and it was pretty
Wow.
amazing. And so when the girls, the backup singers, one kept smiling at me, and I'm thinking she knows I'm a musician. And then when she put her backpack on, the her lanyard with her AAA pass flicked over, and it was a Sleep Token insignia, and I went, that was them, yay.
Oh my.
I didn't go and talk to them. I didn't want to break their, the illusion their anonymity, and so I just left them be. But I really wanted to just walk up to him and just say thank you so much for reinvigorating my faith in music across the board. But his lyrics on Alkaline are just the tits, man. I just that thing, it actually, I felt like I was like, oh crap, my lyrics look like a brown paper bag next to a Ferrari.
Do you know what I have heard and read about so many artists saying, like, pack it up, we're done, they're taking everything, just let's go. Just it is absolutely like the newest album is just
Yeah,
I'm still crying
it's
over
tremendous.
it. I'm
Oh,
still
me
crying
too.
over
I put it on today. I was listening to it today. So there you go. I listen to it like every other day. It's fantastic.
it.
So good. So good.
It is absolutely mind blowing. Um, can you talk us through your songwriting process? What does that look like
Absolutely.
for you?
Yeah, so that's so with the butterfly effect, Kurt always brings in a riff, and then Kurt and Ben will work on that for a extended period of time till it's pretty muchly hammered into the format that we think the song is going to follow. So a sequence of, say intro, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, chorus, post-chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus out. That's how we look at songs, basically.
Okay.
And so we break them down into their little chunks, so they're bite-sized and easier for us to manage. Then basically what I'll do is I'll listen to the guitars, listen to the drums, listen to the sequencing, find out where it's hitting me. Is it hitting me here in the head? Is it hitting me in the heart? Is it affecting me somewhere else? Am I feeling like what kind of sensation is this bringing forth? Like where am I? Is it visual? Is it visceral? Is it like attacking like a part of a sense of mine? And then I'll write from there. So basically I'll have a big film clip in my head because that's how I write visually, and I'll write to it basically. And then what I do is if it's too close to home, if it's too close to the truth and someone could be hurt by it, I'll code it, what I call coding lyrics. So yeah, it's interesting. It's so basically start making everything more metaphorical and bringing color and using your palette and talking about like say if you have a feeling of say like an emotional flux, I use the ocean a lot to talk about that, and I'll color it. I'll put a color in there. I'll talk about the ocean, then something falling. Do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
you use these techniques to basically uh, paint with words, and that's how I try to do it because I always think that it's such a beautiful thing that we have to be able to touch people and with this what is it what are the I've been saying a lot, taking the intangible and making it tangible. So
oh,
it's
I love
incredible and I
that.
love it, and that's how I write basically.
It sounds almost like you're creating a soundtrack for your thought processes, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah.
the way you describe kind of picturing it in your head and almost like picturing a scene in your head and then writing to that. It sounds like you're creating a soundtrack, which I think is
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating because I don't often hear people's writing processes like that. So that is absolutely fascinating to me. Have you always written like that, or is that sort of something that's been developed over the years?
No, I think I've always written like that. I've always pretended that I was a director for a $1 billion budget movie, and that's how. And so I would love to actually make what I have in my head. Sometimes my visuals come out to the screen. It's just to make a film clip like that would be astronomically expensive because it would require a team of CGI artists. But you know what? One thing that I really love is the sound or like the visuals of say like Sin City and 300 and The Warrior and stuff like that. These really cool. I know it would have been all done on green screen, but it's the way they saturate the film.
Yeah,
And so that kind of stuff, I really love that. Like it's so, and I know I keep coming back to this word, so visceral. You can actually kind of taste it or sense it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's what I love, and that's where I write from because yeah, I just think that makes the most interesting music to me, and I'm the first person that's got to get past really. So yeah, so there you
You're
go.
yeah, you're the one that it's got to hit in all the right places before you can present it to anybody else.
Yeah, that's right.
Does the way you write, does that translate into sort of how you would want to create any kind of videos, like music videos? Do you have that kind of scene
Yep.
in your head as you're doing that?
Yeah, we haven't really had much of an opportunity to make too many clips. They've just
Mm.
become so, well, the way we'd want to do them anyway. Like as I said, was it's just so expensive,
Yeah.
and we can so see why a lot of bands don't go down that path, or why they use more visualizers to put up on YouTube with their music,
Yeah.
um, or why some musicians today do courses in how to do film and TV, because it absolutely makes sense. Or now with I know we've got like the Chat GPT thing, and there's AI coming into play, which is going to help so many musicians visualize their art. So which is exciting. It's also scary because I don't know about it yet, but anyway, we'll see. On that terms, it's great.
Fair enough, fair enough. Along the same lines as your songwriting process, which song was the most difficult for you to write, whether that was from a technical standpoint or an emotional one or both?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Gone by the Butterfly Effect is one of the hardest, and Reach, those two, because it was so very personal, so real. It was happening in real time. Like I was standing on the precipice of losing my relationship. It was dissolving at a great rate of knots, and um, it was the time before my eldest son was born. So I'm looking at losing two loves of my life essentially. And so writing that and but putting it out there for people to critique and not knowing what it was about was extremely scary, was extremely difficult to write. But after I put it out there and people have, been really responsive, and well, most people love that song, which is really great. So it gave me great heart, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think people definitely resonate with honest songwriting if they can feel the honesty through it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
um, there's all time to be super metaphorical and talk about. And I always quote this line, from the great late Chris Cornell. There are times where I just love, 1,000 ice picks on your steel shore, which is fabulous. And it's like, there's I love the imagery of it, but
Yeah.
also I think there's time for just saying, I'm really hurting. I'm really scared. Here it is.
This is
And
me.
I guess yeah, and that's exactly right. So though I think the more real emotional songs are the hardest to write for me across the board.
Is that from a technical standpoint as well, or just kind of more?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely, yeah, from a technical point, because you've got to fashion the lyrics so they make sense, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they tell the story, but also you're telling your story, and it's so real, and it was happening in real time. And I thought I was losing everything, as well as my mind, you know, going through
Been there.
really like yeah, such tumultuous times with relationship, which is very difficult. And I know we've all been there,
Right.
and carrying that, like carrying guilt and carrying just that sense of where do I go from here, and trying to write it, and then knowing that I'm going to have to sing that for the possibly the next 10 or 20 years was really an amazing thing. I just sat there going, "Oh man, what have I done? Do I really want to put myself out there?" But I think looking back in retrospect, I'm really glad I did.
Yeah.
It was very cathartic, and it was also almost like therapy. It really helped
Yeah.
find a way through.
Is it difficult for you to sing that kind of on a studio level or on a live level now, or are you kind of okay?
Yeah, I'm okay night to night because I remember where I've come from to get to here now. So that's been, a lot of time and a lot of waters passed underneath the bridge. But there's been a few times where I've gotten a bit misty singing both of those, and because we play Reach as the last song on the last tour, I was letting it. I was belting the business. I was giving it the gusto, and it's yeah. So it still gets me, and I think that's that is the value of writing a song carefully and crafting it well, is you
Yeah.
can still enjoy it years later, and it still means so much.
And I think it's one of those timeless things as well, whereby it still means so much to you as the person who's written it and gone through that experience, but also to the people listening who can find something to resonate with within the lyrics that you've created, and people who just sit there and go, oh, I'm not alone, there's someone else going through
Absolutely.
this. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's just having somebody
Absolutely.
say, I've been there, I'm sorry you went through that, but thank you so much because this helped me. And I just think that's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's something that I think about a lot. It's that sharing, it brings us closer together, our community of music lovers, and especially in the heavy community, I've noticed it way more. Um, Man, there is just so much love. Like you can go and listen to somebody growling about, I don't know, doing some crazy stuff, and people are just amazing to each other.
Yeah,
Like I've never felt safer than in a room full of metalheads.
absolutely. You are not the first person that I've heard say that at all. Like,
Yeah,
I would have absolutely no problems walking into a room full of rock and metal fans and just be
yeah,
like, cool, I feel comfortable here. But a lot of other times I'm just like, get me
I'm
away
with
from
you.
here. I mean, that does actually kind of answer my follow-up question, which was on a more personal note, which song has the most meaning behind it for you? And I would
Mm.
I would guess that's kind of the same. Gone and Reach would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think close to that for is Thousand Needles in Red into probably like Into Eternity and Darkness Meets the Day. I think
Oh,
that was the time a lot of that stuff was going down in my life. So I just kept writing about it. So I needed to clear it. And I think that's the beauty of writing lyrics or putting pen to paper,
mm,
or these days, sitting at your keyboard and just pouring yourself into whatever you want to do. And look, if it's just for you, you can say whatever you want, you know what I mean? And don't be afraid of
exactly.
yourself to pour it into that, you know what I mean? If no one's going to see it, where I start to sort of get a little bit picky and, there's all these like checkpoints, and there's auditors, figuratively speaking in my mind that say like, is this lyric a little bit soft? Is this too cliche? Is this gonna, like I don't want to shy away from talking about what I need to sing about, but
Yeah,
also I'm careful not to get too cliche, too soppy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I get for me.
it's balancing it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got to kind of get that balance of this is the message I want to put out there, but this is the way I want to put it out there.
100%. Yeah, and that's the tricky thing, and that's why that's why the best lyric writers are the best
Yeah.
because it's such a craft, and you can. It's like I remember reading about. Oh, man, what is his name? Escaped me. I just had it.
I hate it when that happens.
What's and the original writer of Hallelujah? What's his name? Um,
Oh,
Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Now that's really going to annoy me. I should know that
oh,
because I
me
really love him.
too. And that song makes me
Leonard
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen. Right.
There we
So
go. We
yeah,
got that.
there you go. Yeah. Um, Yeah, now I've forgotten what the point I was trying to make because I was so
I do that
trying to
all the
get
time.
Leonard Cohen. Do you know what? Doesn't matter. Leonard Cohen. That's it.
That's it. That's the tweet. Hit send. We're done.
Yeah, that's it. Nick Cave. There you go. I'm just gonna say just some of the greatest lyricists in ever, and there you go.
Yeah, we're just going to throw names out there. That's it for the rest of the
Yeah,
chat now.
that's
That's
right.
it. We're just going to throw
Yeah,
names. I think that's what
love
you
it.
were talking about was amazing lyricists, and then we kind of got stuck on his name. So we got
Yeah,
there in
that's
the end.
right. With balancing, and the
That was
craft
it.
of writing great lyrics and telling a great story, but still, you can have like literal meanings and metaphorical stuff intertwining, and it can go from first to second person like in the blink of an eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff could be him talking back to himself in the mirror. Or
Yes.
herself, or themself, whatever these days. You know what I'm saying? And that's it's just, painting with words, making the intangible tangible. It's such a privilege. It's such a wonder. And I just sit back and go, wow, I'm so glad that whatever sparked in my particular brain sparked the way it did, because I'm very thankful,
So are we.
all the time.
So are we.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's honestly, when when the new Butterfly Effect album was announced, I myself and a couple of other people I know were just so excited about that because it was just we just thought that was it. There's not going to be any more, and it was very sad. And Butterfly Effect was one of my I think it was uh, Conversations with Kings.
Oh, Final Conversation of Kings, yeah.
Yeah, that album is just insane. It's so good. And it was one of my first kind of dips into the more slightly proggy sort of scene. And yeah, absolutely mind blowing for me. Wonderful.
Love it.
World's on Fire.
Yes. Can I tell you a story about Worlds on Fire?
Please do.
I had to threaten to quit the band to get that on the album. Can you believe that? Because Kurt said it sounds too much like Muse. I said I don't give a rat's jats whether Matt Bellamy walked in here and said that's too much like Muse. I said it's going on the album because he was worried at the time. He was just thinking it's a little bit derivative, and I just said, well, you know what? I don't care. So there you go. There's the scoop.
That is, you heard it here first, Stargazers.
Yeah,
I That's mind blowing to me because it's such a phenomenal song. It's a ride of a song. Like that
yeah,
takes you places when you listen to it. It is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely
yeah. I
phenomenal.
love it.
I'm very surprised
It's
by
one of
that.
it's one of my favorites too. That's why I fought so hard. I just said, look, if that's not on the album, I quit. So the guys
Just
were like, okay,
all right.
okay, okay.
Well, I'm very glad you did.
Me too.
Um, Kind of going back to the whole songwriting process. While writing, you must have stumbled into creative blocks here and there. How do you overcome those?
Yeah, that's a good question. I never believed in writer's block because I just never had it. So I guess it was easy just to go, well, it doesn't exist. Kind of like jet lag until the
Just
first time you have it.
oh,
Then
jet
you
lag
go
is
on.
rough.
Oh, it's horrible. Or a hangover. You're like, oh, I don't get hangovers until the first time you do, and then you believe in them quite sharply. But
Rude
I
awakening.
did, yeah. I have had moments where I couldn't freely write, and usually what it is there's a block of um, honesty with myself through the writing centers wherever I'm writing from. So it's if it's coming from the heart, then I'm trying to protect it and I'm trying to envelop it in a kind of case where it's not going to get hurt. When you really have to go backwards and open it up and just say, well, here it is. I'm going to bear it all. That's quite horrifying for a lot of people because then you open yourself up to public criticism, especially for musicians that have releasing music to the public. If it's in a brain, it's like there's a misfiring, if you like, of the information and where it's coming from. So basically, um, I always say I am but the conduit through which the music speaks. So there's
I
obviously
love
a
that.
faulty connection to the music, to the universal sound and vibration. So basically, you have to free it up. I mean, speaking kind of spiritual hippie kind of sense, you got to free it and open up, cleanse it, and let it start coming out. So there's something that you need to say that you can't say for whatever reason. You got to find it, and then you have to clear it. And once you clear it, the lyrics will just start coming out like that'll just gush. It's like, for want of a better word, it'll cascade down. That's more. That's that's
Cascade is
that's
good.
more. That's more lyricy, isn't it? It will literally fall out of you, and it will be amazing, and like it will be hard for you to keep up, and without sounding or going into sort of nefarious or illegal ways. There have been like well documented musicians that have used whatever to help them find that. I don't suggest that, but what I'm saying is that there's a block of some sort, um, and people use different and various creative ways to unlock that. I prefer going down. I prefer going the clean route these days. I've been down the other one. I go down the clean route because I can't handle that sort of lifestyle anymore. So now for me, it's a hard out session in the gym. It's like a long walk with silence and also sitting by yourself. There's something to be said. Go and sit on a beach. Go to the woods. Go wherever and sit by yourself and just be in the moment with yourself, because that's frightening to some
Yes.
people, and that's the charge, the spark will happen, and that cathartic moment, it'll just start to come out of you, and it's amazing when that happens. And also, don't be hard on yourself when it starts to unblock. Just let it come out, whatever it is. If it's the cat sat on the mat, doesn't matter. It's But also something that I do is I say things like, I can't speak, I can't get it out. Where is it? Where does it lie? And then you're writing, and then all of a sudden the pen's moving, and you're like, holy shit, this is great. Um, and throw a color in there, throw a sense in there. You know what I mean? It's like, um, under a wall of grey. That's how you start it, and it'll start to come out. So there you go. Tips with Clint.
Hashtag
Yep.
it.
That's what I do anyway.
I like that, and I think it's and obviously different things work for different people, and I think it is just about kind of shaking it up in your own
Mm,
mind or in your own body, and just kind of saying, okay, where am I stumped? What's catching me here? How do I work around this? And it's
yeah.
just finding the ways that work for you, and like you say, being with yourself and being present with yourself is utterly terrifying, but
Mm,
incredible for finding out who you actually are.
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of, and this sounds a little bit wishy-washy, but I'm a huge fan of dating yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Take
Absolutely.
yourself out, take yourself to a movie, take yourself to dinner, sit with yourself, be with yourself, and just
Yeah.
figure out who you are. And I think a lot of good things happen when you start doing that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yep. Definitely.
Um, what is the story behind the names, the butterfly effect, like Thieves, and Thousand Needles in Red?
So the butterfly effect obviously we took our name from like the chaos theory, stating that if a butterfly flaps its wings in the Indian Ocean, that slight gentle push of air can create tidal waves and typhoons, cyclones in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
And basically, we sort of thought if we could touch one person with our sound, with our music, and the way we feel, and then they would in turn find one person, and then it would you know, sort of domino and pinball and effect out. Um, and that was kind of our ethos behind it. It was fairly simple, and we just wanted to play as hard as we could and as loud as we could, to as many people as we could. And we just did laps of Australia backwards and forwards and crisscrossed the country. And so, and then did a couple of tours through Europe, and we never really got to America. Unfortunately, we did a couple of showcases, but it never really happened. But still, that was the kind of feeling behind it. With like Thieves, the name was taken from the NXS song. Oh, sorry, the NXS album, the '85 album, "Listen Like Thieves," and it was a play on words. It was a play on words. It was like thieves, like us. We're like thieves. That's kind of, I don't know. I think it's a bit silly now, but and with Thousand Needles in Red, it came to me in a like I was listening to a demo, and I just heard, this kind of really like almost like engines redlining, because it was really heavy and quite full on guitar wise. And I just saw all these like needles, like, or it could be like the AV, faceplates on old stereos, into the red sort of thing.
Yes.
And that was the reason behind that. But it was really interesting. There was a band in Malaysia, I think, called Thousand Needles,
Hmm.
which is odd. So, and also we had a few names that were already taken. I said, look, let's just call it Thousand Needles in Red, because no one will have that. Oh, I think, yeah, it's just, yeah, so many band names are taken.
Oh, tell me about it. It's
And,
sorry, go on.
oh no, I was just going to say, and that was the only thing behind it. We just wanted to play loud and into the red. So it's just guys making noise, really.
Guys making noise. I love that that almost kind of, and probably quite unintentionally so, kind of ties into how you got started with music as a kid, just watching the pretty lights. And it
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
almost comes a little bit full circle, which I love. And I don't know whether that was intentional, but
Oh, but I love that too. I'm gonna use that. taking it now. It's great.
Fine. Steal away. Credit me.
Oh, for sure.
If you could give aspiring artists, musicians, any kind of advice, what would you give them?
Wow, yeah, keep writing. Just keep writing and enjoy it and love it. It's got to be for the love of it.
Yeah.
It's there's no other reason to do it. If you're in it for any other reason, it can break you. It's So yeah, do it for the love of it. Don't be hard on yourself. Enjoy the moments when you get, those aha moments, and um, that companionship with the other musicians. You know what I mean, and that camaraderie and that connection, but also the connection to the greater community, the connection to because anyone that's into heavy music is just, I've found by and large, just a wonderful community to be a
Oh,
part of. So that's what I would say, yeah, enjoy every minute of it because it's fleeting and it's going past so quickly. Play more, sing more, love more, laugh more. Yeah, just more of all the good stuff.
I think that's good advice for anybody.
Yeah,
Whether you're an aspiring musician or just somebody who loves to listen, just listen more, love more. Just, yes. Wholeheartedly
absolutely.
agree with that.
Yeah, search more, discover more. I think that's the go-to.
Yes,
Mm,
absolutely. Don't stop finding new things, finding new
100%.
passions, finding new things that kind
Yeah,
of spark that I love this, I want to do this kind of thing. Yeah.
absolutely.
So I know we've talked about other artists kind of a little bit, and I know we've talked about Sleep Token a lot. Um, what bands or artists have you got on repeat at the moment?
Yes. So Architects, Spirit Box, Sleep Token. That's the starters. I think what else have I had? Oh, classical. Like I listen to ABC Classic FM. I every day I'm in the car. So if you want to get it really, the big six composers plus like Mendelssohn. That sounds so funny when I'm saying it. That's all I've literally had on repeat. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh no, that's pretty much it. You know what? I'll go back through my list and I'll find some interesting stuff, I'm sure. Actually, I should have you just keep talking to me. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and go back through my where's my YouTube list? No, no, I can't do that. I don't know.
No, it's I
That'll be. Sorry, you go.
no, it's fine. I was just gonna say I love like Spirit Box, Sleep Token. That's just absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic for me. Courtney LaPlante's voice is just ridiculous.
Oh man, she was only just out here in February for Knotfest, and I waited like a giddy schoolboy for her to come on, and she just does it for me on so many levels.
Oh,
I'm just in love with her. And I ain't afraid to say it.
absolutely
Um,
not.
oh man. But yeah, so I went and saw Sleep Token last year in Brisbane, and it was like a religious experience, I guess. I'm not religious, but
Yes.
if you are, then that's what it was like. And they came out to Alkaline, and it just like the whole place just lost their minds. And it was just such a wonderfully emotional, heartfelt performance. And I felt every lyric, I felt every note, and it was just incredible to watch. I
Yeah.
didn't get to it this time because they're only just here, like a month and a half ago. I couldn't get to it because I was obviously starting my tour. Um, but yeah, I was super jealous.
Oh.
But I got to sit next to them at the airport unmasked. So there you go.
So
That's my claim to fame. Yes. But there's oh wow, what other bands? There's a great new heavy band out of Australia called Alpha Wolf. They're doing some good stuff.
okay.
Yeah, so check them out if you've got a spare few. What else? Oh, I'm racking my brain because I'm like, man, I should have way more than that. But you know what? I absorb so much. Like I'll listen to the one artist and absorb it. You know what I mean? And until
Yeah.
it's like in there, like it's saturated. So for me, like I don't use Spotify, I don't use any of that stuff. So I don't flick in between artists. I listen to the one artist. That's it. And
I'm
then
yeah, I'm exactly the
yeah.
same. I use Spotify primarily, but I will just put that one artist on repeat, on shuffle, and just be like immersed myself in it. Yeah,
Now I got to ask you something. Hey,
of course.
now how do you say I think it is it the fourth track off Sleep Tokens album? Is it now? Do you say Vor or do you say Vori?
Before.
Yeah, that's how I say it too. I got into a discussion with a guy. He's like Vori. I'm like, it's not Vori.
What are you talking
It's
about?
Vor. Yeah, what are you on about, man?
It's I believe, kind of looking at the imagery of the lyrics behind it, it's the shortened version of a word called vorophilia, which is why I say it the way I do. So
Oh,
there we go.
there you go. Now I've learnt something. See, this is a good day.
Ah, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Love it.
I actually got to see them live back in January, and you're 100% correct that it was like a religious experience. I came out of that and I was just like, I don't know who I am anymore. It
Yeah.
was just
You know what?
life altering,
I'm with you. The
absolutely
band
mind
are
blowing.
exceptional musicians. Just watching them, and it
Yeah,
was interesting. It was funny listening to the drummer talk to the lighting tech because the lighting guy was Australian, and the drummer was saying, "Oh, mate, I'm really sorry. You know, I came in early on that on the drop in," and the lighting guy was saying, "Oh, was that you? I thought it was me, man. I missed the lighting cue." And the drummer was like, "No, man, that was me." And I'm like, "They are human. They are real. They do make mistakes." And I got to tell you, how's this? I was when I was in the States years ago, I was starting a band over there that fell over, unfortunately, with a couple of the guys from Cold Chamber, one of the guys from Static X, and another guy from a different band. Yeah, it would have been killer. But it fell over,
heavy.
unfortunately. Yeah, so but we went to this house and we're hanging out, and Roy, the drummer from Stone Sour, happened to be there, and I was like, "What are you doing here, man?" Sort of thing, and he said, "Oh, you know, we just finished doing our dailies and whatever else." I said, "What? How come you're here like so early? What?" And he said, "Oh no, Corey's having a bad day," and I went, "Stop the press." He's real. He's human. He's having a bad day. I was like, "What do you do when he does that?" He goes, "Well, we just take the day and then we come back tomorrow." And I said, "What's he going to be like tomorrow?" He said, "He'll be like a caged animal let out." He said he will attack that microphone. He was pretty pissed when he left because he couldn't get this one part anyway. But there you go.
It's and
So
I love like little moments like that where you see that kind of, oh my God, they are actually a real person underneath that
100%.
kind of pedestal that you kind of put your favorite artists on. You're just like, you're not real. You're absolutely not real. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
had had a moment like that, and probably will not thank me for bringing this up, but I doubt he remembers. I saw a band called Starset a couple of years ago, and as I was waiting outside to go into the venue, the lead singer came. I didn't realize it was him at the time. And he came down. He's like trying the doors, and he can't get in. And me, being me, just kind of went, "You right there, my lovely?" And he turns around, and I'm like, I kept my cool, obviously. And he just kind of went, and I said, "What? Are you not supposed to be on the other side of the door, maybe?" And he just kind of went, "It would probably be really helpful, yes." I was like, "You try the other side." And he walks and he was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. See you in there." I was like, "Yep, see you in there." And that was that. As he walked away, and this is the bit he probably won't thank me for, as he walked away, he tripped up the sidewalk.
Oh no, it's a full
Oh,
Spinal Tap sort of moment.
yeah. I love that you just said that. Yeah, it was absolutely, and he styled it out. It was great, and he kind of looked around, and of course there were hundreds of people queuing exactly where he tripped up the.
Oh no.
And he styled it out, and he kind of went, shook it off. A couple of guys that kind of, I'm assuming, kind of know them. They follow them around whenever they tour over here, and a couple of them kind of like mocked him absolutely mercilessly, and he kind of flipped them a bird and just walked off. I was just like, yes, you are human. I love it.
Love it. We are human. We do bleed.
Yes. So my last question for you, before I dive into anything that people have kind of fired at me to ask you, if you have time, obviously.
Yep.
Um, you've talked about new like Thieves, what else has the future got in store for you? Whether that's your own solo work or with your various bands.
Yeah, so that's so new solo stuff that's in the works. I'm going down a bit of a stylistic change. I'm going to go down the more country-esque road. I just want to. That's where I started when I was like 5 years old. That was my dad was bass player in the local country music club, and
Oh,
so that's where I started. So I'm going to like get back to the my roots,
a little bit more
which is
Mama
really
Get Your
cool.
Guns kind of style.
100%, that's right. Yeah, get a little bit of a honk in the old voice there. And so that'll be fun, and it's something new because I don't want to be like tied down to genre either. I just want to have some fun with it and write what I'm writing. New Butterfly Effect, it will be slightly different again. Sort of, I want to go down the road of making songs, like more like Worlds on Fire, big twisty, turny, like have like six big sections with orchestral sweeps and chorus. A group, like a choir in the background,
Oh
and big
yes.
floating choruses and stuff like that, which would be great. We've got a few songs that in the works that could, may lead us down that path. For
Awesome.
like Thieves, it's super cinematic. It's amazing. Um, I was actually just talking to Odin today about what we're doing. So I just said, look, I don't want to record it until it's right. So it's got to be right. So I'm absolutely poring over the lyrics like a twit. I've written like five different versions for this. Yeah, yeah, it happens. I haven't got, well, some songs I've got a slight block on. The other ones I'm writing too much. It's like, almost lyrical diarrhea. It's annoying
Beautiful.
me because I've got like five or six different versions of this one song, and I'm thinking, what am I trying to say? And why can't I seem to streamline this message properly? And I think because I've said it before, and that's what's worrying me is like I've already said this kind. I've used the subject matter. I've used similar words. It's not really super original or fresh. But then I'm kind of like, in the other part of me, it's just saying, man, just let it be what it's going to be,
Mm.
because clearly there's a reason why you want to write this particular song a particular way. And I've always thought that some of my songs predict the future, and it's scaring me because it's actually quite heavy in its lyrical content about losing loved ones. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to like, challenge, tempt fate, so to speak. So I think I just need to grow a set and get out there and just commit, just commit. So that's like the butter stuff, the solo stuff. Um, and that's pretty much it. I've been hit up to do like session work and throw my vocals on the back of like some hip hop stuff, which was pretty cool. There was another guy who had some like really heavy um, stuff. There's a song that not many people would know about. And I don't know whether you guys have ever heard about it. It's called Dream Killer. And it's a song I did with a guy from Melbourne, and I love it, and I don't think many people have ever heard it. So
I
if
have
you put
not.
Dream Killer featuring Clint Boge, you'll see it.
I will have
And
to give
it's
that a listen later.
yeah, yeah, I really loved it. And actually, it's funny because if I could get a hold of that guy again, I'd probably say, hey, let's write some more songs because it's
It's
very good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My people will call your people. We'll do
yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or brunch, whatever the cool kids are doing these days.
Ah, yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Oh,
I've never been one of the cool kids.
me either. Hey, I'm with you. Yeah,
Normals for the birds,
that's right. I'm
as
with
one of
you.
my friends says. So I do have a couple of questions from my Discord community if you've got time.
Yeah, love to.
Fab. Um, One of them is actually about Thousand Needles and Threads and whether or not there was going to be any new material coming from them, but you've said that's pretty much a is there
Yeah.
any chance?
No, I think
Oh, it's a
I
shame.
yeah, I know it's a bummer. I think I'd like it'd run its course. And so yeah, definitely won't be revisiting that one.
Right.
Sorry guys.
But we are getting new Butterfly Effect and new Like Thieves and new solo work, so we can't complain too much. Um, One of the other questions I'd gotten was, um, and it's kind of tied into something I wanted to ask you as well, was kind of, but how do you unwind kind of in your spare time? And I mean, obviously, I know you've got so much going on. Not only do you have your own work, you've got the two bands, you've also got what I believe is a relatively hectic kind of day job as well. How do you keep it all how do you unwind? Do you unwind?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think gaming, like I really enjoy. I haven't done it for a while though, but I love gaming, and I've just
Yes.
like I set up this mad rig, and I've got like the original Xbox, Xbox One, 360s over here. I've got the PlayStation 3, 4, 5, uh,
Oh, I saw
and it's
that
just
setup actually on Instagram. I was just like, oh, yes, I'll be right there.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I've got like hundreds of games and stuff because I think that's the way that I just dealt with when you come off the road.
Yeah.
You just find a good spot. Plus, I really love, and I know this is going to sound a bit funny, but I really love looking after my house and looking after my plants and my yard and stuff. I've found a great pleasure in keeping house plants alive because I was never very good at it before, but now it's great. Just taking time because to give of yourself without asking anything in return, I think is really important as a human to look after an animal, to look after a child, to look after plants. Um, Not the illegal kind either, guys.
No, no, we're talking house plants here, like
Yeah,
cacti, things like that.
that's exactly right. Yeah, so I found a real kind of centering calm in things of that nature. Like I've actually found, I know this sounds weird, found it quite therapeutic to clean. I like tidy, I like neat, I like ordered because my brain at times can be scattered across different albums, different projects, and with obviously my day job and stuff like that. Um, it can be quite hectic and you can lose sight of what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's taking a little bit of time. Also, I enjoy a beer. I'll be honest, I enjoy a beer. So
Why not?
um, that's my jam. During COVID, I pretty much just sat in my house, wrote music, and drank beer, and I had a great time. I had a great time.
I mean, I'm I I do love, like, don't get me wrong, I do love being around people, kind of.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but there is something to be said for just sitting in your own space and just being, I
That's right.
think.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important, and yeah, and like we were talking about before, getting away and having a moment by
Yeah,
yourself, whether it's a weekend, dating yourself, go to the movies, whatever. I think it's hugely important.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, so that's another thing too. Actually, I need to do that. Yeah, I need to go take myself out somewhere.
Yes, go see a
Maybe for
movie.
yeah, yeah. I think I might actually. There's nothing on in Australia at the moment, but I'll have a look around.
Oh, rude. I took
That
myself to
sucks.
see the new animated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I think it was called, the other day, which was very bright and very chaotic, but a lot of fun.
Love it.
Nerd. What are you playing at the
Love it.
moment, game-wise?
Oh,
Also
what?
huge gaming nerd here. So yeah, the second you said that, I was just like, what are we playing?
I love it.
Oh yes.
What have I been playing? Oh, look, Hogwarts has been like on the thing. I've been going backwards through like some old Call of Duty stuff.
Mm.
Because nothing like, I like the Assassin's Creed games. Like I got right into Valhalla for a while. One game that I lost weeks of my life on was Skyrim when it came out, and I periodically go back to that. But I just realize how much it takes to just get anywhere. I
Uh,
love open world stuff. It's
I
great.
There is going to be one of my listeners who is going to be extraordinarily happy with that because he is a huge Skyrim fan. So
Love it. Yeah, it's great. So that's what I've been jamming on lately. Until my boys steal the newer consoles and they're playing like 2K basketball and my eldest boy, what was he? Oh no, he's just been using it for bloody Netflix and crapola now. So it's
oh,
hard. I got to
great.
wrestle him to get back. I know, I know.
How dare you? Use it for its intended purpose. Play a game.
Love it. Yeah, that's exactly right. So and other than that, I've got like arcade stuff. Like I've got an old arcade. Um, I had an old arcade game with like 3,000 games like Pac-Man and all that sort of stuff on
Oh,
it. But I
nice.
I sold it and I bought like this a smaller one with like all the fighting games and all that stuff like Mortal Kombat, and so I still love playing because I'm a kid from the '80s. So for me, like anything Nintendo, anything Atari, you know all the arcade games.
I
That's
grew
my
up
jam.
with a what was it my dad bought me? An Amiga CD32.
Whoa,
Yeah, I wish I
that's
still had
cool though.
that. I
I
wish I still had
know.
that.
Oh, I wish I still had all the vintage stuff too. I
Oh,
had
it's
like
so
Super
nice.
Nintendos, Nintendo 64, Mega Drive.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Sunday afternoons with my dad just playing like, oh, what was it we played? Simon the Sorcerer.
oh,
Old point and
that's awesome.
it was great. Old point and click adventure games. It was so much fun. But yeah, that was my foray into gaming when I was a kid. So yeah, thanks,
That's
Dad.
cool. I really loved Donkey Kong Country and Aladdin. They were two games that really
Oh, Aladdin
had
was
me.
hard though.
Yeah, it was super hard. That was tough, man. That was stupid.
It was that and the Lion King, the really old Lion King game. That was
Yeah.
brutal. Like forget
hmm
FromSoft games. Go play that if you want a
Oh, I got to tell
challenge.
you too. Another game that came out recently, well, years ago now, but still more recent than Aladdin and Lion King, Cuphead and Mugman on the Xbox. That is insanely hard. That's one of the most difficult games I've ever played, and I rage quit so many times. I'm like, no,
I'm out.
just throw. Yep, I'm throwing the controller. I'm throwing my hands up. I'm like, you know, expletive, expletive.
And we're done. You know what's weird is like I'll dive into kind of like the uh like what culture gaming and stuff on YouTube, and they do like the top 10 hardest bosses in video games and stuff like that. And in those videos, Cuphead is always in there. And I just sit and watch them and I'm just like, I think I'll just skip that actually.
Yeah, it'll drive you nuts.
uh,
Seriously, it's too hard, too hard.
I
But then
I
again, you
agree.
know what? There are people that'll sit there and go, "Oh, I got through it pretty easy." And you know what? Good on you if that's the case. Great. Excellent. Well done. Pat yourself on the back. Now
Yes,
jog on.
yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah, yeah.
ask. I'm struggling through the FromSoft games at the moment, like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, all of that kind of thing. So I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. It's
That's hard as well. That's got rated as one of the
pain.
hardest games.
It
Yeah,
is
straight
pain.
up.
I love it.
It looks beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got through Bloodborne and I loved that, like the kind of gothic, dark, really kind of nasty looking. Oh, beautiful, beautiful game. But the amount of times I
Yeah,
just put my controller down and just went,
that's it. That's all for today.
yes, I
Now
will
I'm gonna
come
go
back.
listen to some metal and really chill out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think I've probably taken up enough of your time this evening. Thank you, or this morning for me, but thank you so very much. I appreciate you immensely for coming and chatting to me. I really, really do.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's lovely to chat with you, and to everyone watching and listening out there. I hope you have a wunderbar day and a great week, and big love always from me.
Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it. And I will let you go and have a wonderful, wonderful day
Thanks so
or
much.
wonderful evening.
See ya.
Take care. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. That was the absolute legend that is Clint Boge, frontman for the Butterfly Effect, frontman for Like Thieves, his own solo work. We are going to be seeing much, much more of him in the future, and I, for one, cannot wait. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Take care and bye for now.